The average age of retirement in America is 65, but my dad died at 53 years old. This makes me run different math. What if I don't make it to the age of 65? And if I do, what if I'm too worn out to do anything worthwhile in retirement? But then it begs this question: who in their right mind walks away from a dream job in their 40s voluntarily with a kid and a wife still at home? Well, I did. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, because I want to inspire those who are looking for the answers to understand that yes, there is a pathway forward. This is the exact 12-year plan I ran on a $63,000 average salary. No inheritance, no windfall. Unfortunately, no rich uncle. Here's what we're talking about. The framework that made this mathematically possible, something called Coast Fire, completely changed how I thought about work. And fourth, a gut punch moment that I haven't shared in detail before. The night that everything changed for me. And I'm going to get to it mid-video. And when you hear it, I think you'll completely understand why I couldn't stay at my job. So let's get right to it. You may have heard of something called FIRE. It stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The concept is simple. Build a portfolio so big that you can live off of it forever and never work again. Now, I love that idea. And I used to think, though, it's completely unreachable for an average guy like me making, at the time, an average salary. So when they tell me, well, all you have to do is save up $3 million and you're good. Yeah, bro, thanks for the tip. But don't worry, there's a different way. There's a variation of that same concept, and it completely rewired how I thought about this. Here is the question that Coast Fire asked. How much do you need invested right now at your current age so that if you never invested another dollar ever again, the compound growth on that investment would grow to your desired retirement number on its own? Now that's it. That's the whole idea. So once you hit that number, you are coasting. You're not having to white knuckle every dollar that you make into your brokerage account anymore. No more retirement 401k savings. All you have to do at this point is cover your monthly expenses. And that completely changes your relationship with work. Because now you don't need to never work again. You just don't need to work for your retirement anymore. And that pressure is gone. Now, here's what's big. What fills that empty space now is options. And that's a powerful unlock. It gives you optionality. You can now decide, well, especially if you were investing a lot of money, you can now, instead of investing all that money, you can enjoy trips. Or you can just leave that job and work fewer hours. You can do something that you actually love. Consult instead of grind. See, all you need is enough income to cover your cost of living. The portfolio just works in the background. Now stick with me, because later I'm going to walk you through a free spreadsheet. Shows you exactly where you stand today. So you leave not just understanding my corporate quit story, but how the numbers work for you too, no matter where you're starting from. But here's the part that nobody likes to put in their type of videos, the actual starting point. And this is what I'm going to call my first era of my journey to leaving my dream job. Because in 2013, I wasn't just some high earner with a fat investment account ready to compound and grow. I was an average guy with a budget that barely breathed every month. It was stressful. And I had a problem that was quietly stealing from me every single paycheck. See, our household income at that time in 2013 was around $55,000 a year. And every month that I'd sit down with the budget, I would feel this quiet, grinding frustration, right? I just couldn't shake it. And one day I just mapped it out. Every debt payment that I had, every minimum payment, every interest charge going out the door. So I added it all up, and I sat back for a second and I thought about something. I'm not working for my family. I'm working for all of these banks that get my money at the end of every month. Every late night that I'm working, every early morning, every hour I poured into my job, a massive chunk, well, it went straight to debt before I even saw a dime that I could do anything with. And that had to stop. So in 2013, we started getting aggressive. We did the debt snowball. And if you're not familiar with that, it's very simple. You line up all of your debts from the smallest debt to the largest debt, and you attack the smallest one first with everything you've got while paying the minimum payments on everything else. When that one's gone, roll up the freed payment into the next debt, and then the next one, and then the next one. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, one by one, get rid of all of them. I want to be straight with you though. This wasn't clean. This was years of just being intentional, saying no to things, staying locked on a goal that sometimes felt impossibly far away. But every time that we eliminated a debt, something opened up, a little bit of breathing room, some cash flow, a little more of our own money staying with us instead of going to somebody else. By 2018, we cleared roughly about $100,000 to $200,000 in consumer debt. We no longer had the credit cards. We finally got rid of the car payments, student loans, and all of that. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was finally working for us. That money that we got, I could do something else with it. And here's what I want you to actually feel in those numbers based on my story. Take two people. They have the same job with the same $55,000 household income and the same starting point in 2013. The first person gets a raise in 2015. What they do is they upgrade the car, they move to a nicer apartment. It feels good. They deserve it. The second person gets the same exact raise, but they throw every dollar at their debt. They stay with the same car and they stay put. In 2018, the first person has a nicer life on paper, but they still have $1,400 a month going straight to debt payments, still working for the bank. The second person, though, zero debt. That same $1,400 a month is now theirs fully every single month. And if you redirect that money into index fund investing at a measly 7% average return on the rate of the market, that's $140,000 that the first person simply does not have. It's the same income, same starting point, completely different paths. And that's not a math lesson. Really, it's just a decision that we all have. Some people might opt for the nicer car and the luxuries, but for me, honestly, I was opting for that optionality and the freedom that I have today. Now, I got a question. What about you? Do you prefer upgrading your life when you get raises, or do you invest that money instead? Let me know down in the comments below. So now at this point, the debt is gone in my life. The cash flow is starting to finally have some room. And here's where most people truly ease up, right? You upgrade the car at this point, you enjoy some lifestyle creep. You finally say, I earned it because I worked so hard to pay the debt down. I get that. But what we did instead is the part I credit most for reaching the finish line. And it starts with a decision I made in 2018, one I wish I made a little bit earlier. See, once the debt was gone, we started investing. Very small, but chunks into the 401k at my job. But I also made a decision to build income outside of my job. I started becoming an adjunct professor at a local university. I did YouTube videos. I started building websites with affiliate income. These things did not all work right away. In fact, I failed so many more times than I'd like to admit. But I treated every failure as a tuition payment toward figuring out what actually worked. Sometimes I did all this work and I didn't make a dime from it. And sometimes I would do things and I would make some good money. So slowly that income started stacking up. And by 2019, our household income had grown to around $110,000. And here's the critical part. Every time that income went up, whether that was a raise at my job, promotion, we did not inflate our lifestyle to match that income. We instead put that extra money to work. Then we started doing something everyone debates so hard, and I get it. We paid off our mortgage. Mathematically, investing every extra dollar instead of paying off a low-rate mortgage often wins on paper. I've heard it 1,000 times. I totally get it. The spreadsheet says you should always invest. But here's the number the spreadsheet doesn't have a column for. Today, before I recorded this video, I woke up without an alarm. I walked my daughter into school, sat down, and did this video, knowing that there was not a $2,000 mortgage payment hanging over my head any longer. That peace of mind had a real dollar value that didn't show up in any spreadsheet. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to leave my job if it wasn't for paying off the mortgage. So we paid it off from 2018 to 2022. My raises at work and my side hustle income all flowed into the mortgage outside of the small little bit that we were investing in the 401k. But starting in March of 2022, when we reached the payoff, that $2,000 a month that used to go to the bank now went straight into index funds instead. Every single month, we just started investing. And it wasn't hot stock tips. It wasn't crypto gambling. It was a 3-fund portfolio. The majority in VTI, the total stock market index, and that fund has exposure to thousands of companies instead of betting on just one or two. Then between 2022 and 2024, I got 2 promotions. The mortgage was gone. The side hustles were expanding, and the Coast Fire number started coming into reach much faster than I ever expected. Oh, and I promised you a gut punch. Remember that? Well, here it is. It's 11:47 p.m. I'm in a hotel room while I'm traveling for work. My phone buzzes. It's a photo from my wife. See, my daughter had her marching band competition and the band absolutely crushed it. It was awesome. They got first place, but I missed it. I was away on travel. So I sat there in the hotel room, a little bit frustrated. My laptop was open, had some half-eaten food on the desk, and I opened a spreadsheet and did math I've not done before. I had just traded that moment that I'll never get back for a salary, for time away from my family. And it was at that point that I started thinking about my dad, gone at the age of 53. I thought about whether he had moments like that, things that he missed, things that he told himself he'd get back to, until he discovered that he had cancer. See, later never came for him. And that night, for the first time, I opened up a spreadsheet and I ran my own Coast Fire math on my actual numbers. See, I was working toward fire, but I didn't ever run the numbers like I did that night. And I almost fell out of my chair. I was already Coast Fire. In fact, so close to, being fully financial independent in the next 5 years. But yet I keep chasing money, raises, promotions, all while missing key moments. That was the night the plan stopped being a concept and became a mission. I stopped asking if I could leave and I started asking, when can I leave my job? I want to spend more time with my family. I want to live intentionally. I want to get out of the corporate grind. Now, it's at this point in the video that this stops being about my story and it starts becoming your story, because everything I just walked you through, from the debt payoff to the side hustles, the investing, the mortgage, it all pointed toward one number. And I want to show you how to find your own number right now. First, this is the version of the spreadsheet that I used that night in the hotel room, but I did actually recently upgrade it to make it even better. So I'm going to link it down in the description below. Feel free to open it, check it out for yourself. There's 3 steps. The very first one that we want to do is know what our monthly expenses are, and not estimated. Figure it out. Track what you actually spend and then multiply that by 12. That's going to be your annual spending number. Now, I have a transaction register link below if you haven't started tracking. Please do that. Step 2. Plug in where you are today, your age, what you currently have invested, and what you're contributing monthly to your investments. And then you want to plug in that annual spending number that we just calculated. The sheet is going to do the rest. So let's plug in just a basic example here. Let's say your age is 35. You want to retire at the age of 65. The year is 2026. Let's say your current portfolio has $250,000 in it, and you're going to continue to invest, let's say $1,000 a month. Now, your annual spending in retirement, that's how much your annual expenses equal. Now, $100,000 might be a lot or it might be a little. The point is, think about whenever you decide you want to be fully financially independent, how much money do you want to spend every single year? That might be a lot for some people. Do you anticipate getting any Social Security? If so, what age are you going to start that? Are you going to have a pension, or are you going to have part-time and side hustle income when you go fully retired? This is stuff that you can plug in, and what it'll do is it'll automatically calculate what your desired number needs to be. And that's all over here on the right-hand side. Notice that you need $2.5 million in your portfolio in order to maintain $100,000 per year in portfolio income. And knowing is the only way to close a gap that you haven't measured. See, a lot of people talk about leaving their jobs, escaping the corporate burnout, but not many people have an actual plan. And once you hit that crossover point, you have two ways that you can play. One, you can keep working if you want. Nobody's saying you have to do what I did or retire or, YOLO or anything like that. You keep on working. But now everything that you were aggressively investing, that gets redirected toward actually enjoying more of your life. Or you can keep on investing toward full financial independence. But the point is here, you could then take that money, as long as your boss allows more vacation time, take some extravagant vacations. I mean, you earned it. At this point, you're coast fi. But there's a second option, and this is the one that I opted for. You do what I did. I went from being a corporate executive, climbing the corporate ladder all the way to the top, to a part-time consulting in the same industry that I love, but now I get to do it on my own schedule. All I got to do now, cover my monthly expenses while the portfolio continues to grow on its own. And if you'd like me to, I can continue to update you on how our financial journey is going, because I know it's always interesting to understand how this is working in an actual environment. If you'd like that, let me know, and I'll keep coming back with new videos. But neither path is wrong. Both are optionality. And that is the whole point. See, for the last 12 years, I changed my financial story completely. I invested hard. I paid down debt like it was a disease. But 12 years will go by, whether we like it or not. See, the difference is what we do with those 12 years. We can argue ourselves out of not doing something or doing something, but 12 years is going to pass by either way. Where will we be in the next 12 years? Well, it all depends on what we start doing today. Some are going to start further ahead than others, but never compare your chapter 1 to their chapter 5. This works, but it is not a shortcut. It's a 12-year plan that required consistency, sacrifice, and more moments than I can count, where I had to choose the future over the present moment. And one more thing that you need to know. I already know what some of you are thinking, because I had the same exact thought when I was running these numbers. And I bet I can read your mind. Ready? Here's what you're thinking. Okay, Bob, this all sounds great. If these numbers work out, how do we figure out health insurance? Are you thinking about that? That is a real, honest question, but it deserves a serious answer. It's one of the biggest practical barriers between people and this kind of freedom. And it's something I've had to figure out personally since I stepped away from my full-time work. So what I need you to do is make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss that video. I'm going to dive deep into all angles of how you can afford to leave your job and still deal with healthcare, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Now, if you want the full story of why I quit my job, the emotional side, the hotel room, and what it actually felt like to hand in that notice, that video is right up here. You can check that video next. Keep building your Sharpe money, and I'll see you on the next video.